The Mobile World Congress closed off in Barcelona, one of the globe's largest mobile industry gatherings, if not the biggest, with several tens of thousands there in attendance. And some of the topics on this year's agenda included new security challenges as well as sustainable growth powered by mobile technology. Now, the conference is also just as much a networking event as startups hope now to catch the eye of seasoned international investors, such as our next guest. Now, joining us live from Palo Alto, California is John Malloy of Blue Run Ventures. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me, Natalie.
Well, you regularly attend these events. How would you describe the atmosphere there this year? You just got back from Barcelona.
I did. I think, well, every year it started, the whole show has been going on for so long. It goes way back to Cannes, and I've been going probably for 14 years now. It strikes me every year that it just seems to get bigger and bigger. The scale of it is pretty amazing, but of course the scale of the mobile industry keeps on growing as well.
What are the trends that you're looking at? Did anything at the event surprise you?
Less and less so. I heard your intro. Primarily, I view it as a networking event. It really is. It's really a global meeting place. I often meet a lot of friends from Israel there, as well as everywhere else in the world. I think probably the biggest change from who attends over the last 3 to 4 years is that you really see a lot of Chinese manufacturers, ODMs there, whereas before it was very European-centric. So the demographics of the show itself is really shifting to reflect the demographics of mobile more broadly.
Do you think that changes the tech itself, that there's any difference in that side of things, or is it just in terms of cultural differences that we're seeing here?
Well, the thing that's changed the most is really the structure of the industry itself. When I first started going, it was very European-centric. Nokia was, the dominant manufacturer. This is really a show it used to be for the network manufacturers, the network OEMs, but really the handset manufacturers have been to the fore for 10 years or more. And 10 years ago, it very much was driven by Nokia. What's odd about the show now is that it's kind of driven by the person who's not there. Everybody is, doing launches and trying to show that they're at the cutting edge of innovation with their handsets, with various devices, and yet, the big overhang is what's Apple going to do. And I think this was probably the most extreme year for that because, as we all know, Apple's going to announce the watch likely this Monday from Palo Alto. So, I think that was kind of a little bit in the background of the show and maybe gave it a different feel than it normally has.
Interesting. Well, you did mention your interest in Israeli technology. What are you most excited about now? What did you notice there from the Israeli tech side?
Well, Israeli tech in general has been very, very strong in communications for a long time. With the advent of Waze, I also now see more Israeli, there's always been great technology teams, but I now see more of a willingness to try consumer-facing things with the success of Waze. So it's a mix. I think there's a much broader representation of ideas and startups from Israel than there used to be because of the maturation of that market as well.
Well, you mentioned Waze. Tell us about how you first discovered Waze.
Sure. Well, the old saying, success has 1,000 fathers. This is one. So obviously Waze was a big success. So there's many people who introduced me to the founders of the company, or a handful of people, and I appreciate that. But actually, the first time that I actually met the founders was at Mobile World Congress. It was February of 2008, and the company at the time was called LinkMap, and we met in Barcelona. We had been in dialogue before, but Barcelona was kind of the logical meeting point because I was going to be there and they were coming in from Israel. So that's how it all started.
Well, what stood out to you about Waze?
The real bet on Waze was that if you remember way back in 2008, the iPhone had been launched. Everybody had announced a smartphone. Every vendor at Mobile World Congress at the time had announced a smartphone. So the one trend that you could really count on was that every handset would have a GPS chip. And once everybody had a GPS chip, then the timing was right for something like Waze, which essentially sits atop. It's a service that sits atop all the different cell phones with location-aware devices. And so that was the enabling layer that had been missing up until that point. And that was really the first bet. The second bet was there was a computer science idea that Ehud, the founder, really was at the forefront of, and that was that we could actually build an accurate map from GPS traces. Up until that point, the cartography industry was kind of very antiquated. It was still done and still largely done today the way Marco Polo used to make maps, which is having humans walk the earth, right? And then suddenly there was this idea that we could actually build an accurate and then ultimately real-time map from the handsets of everybody who joined the network. That was a very, very innovative and disruptive idea. It gave us a cost advantage and ultimately a data advantage that far exceeded anything that had been done in the industry to that point.
Well, thank you so much for your insight. We do appreciate it. John Malloy, partner at Blue Run Ventures in Palo Alto, California.
All right. Nice to meet you.